Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Download. Thank you so much for joining in. We're going to go through some of the introductions in a moment. Just to say, this is we're running this every week. This is about some of the things that we've learned, some of the things that we find which are serious, some of the things are funny, whatever we decide. And we would love to have your comments, your questions, the things that you found out this week, the things that you found funny this week, all of those things. And we'd love you for you to share those things. I'm going to go around as I see the screen to get people to introduce themselves. Mike, do you want to go first?
Hey, everybody. Mike Garrison, founder of Values-Based Mindset and a proud associate of DLA Ignite.
Nick, because this is your first time on this, isn't it, Nick? You're a regular listener, but you're now here.
Yes, here I am, as if by magic. I am Nick Raeburn, aka That Video Nerd. I'm a video consultant and coach, and I run a company called Viral Media. And I'm also part of the Crux crew, which involves Eric, Kevin, and Matt, who I'm sure will probably pop up here at some point. Yeah, there's Eric.
There's Eric. Sorry, Eric.
That's all right. Hello.
As if by magic. Look at that segue. That was magic.
So, Adam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Gray. I'm co-founder of DLA Ignite and Tim's business partner.
Thomas?
Hello, everyone. I'm Thomas Ross. I'm founder of Social Sales HQ and a very proud and active partner with DLA Ignite.
Brandon, your second time.
Second time. I got you beat by one, Nick. I am Brandon Lane, founder of Funnel Amplified, and also a proud and excited partner of DLA Ignite.
Thank you, and welcome back.
Thank you.
And Eric, we're going to be very sensitive with you today.
Thank you.
But you're back from your holidays. Great to see you. But we're all rooting for you today.
Yeah, very sad news.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, that's very, very nice of you guys. Thank you so much. For those who don't know, and for some, this might not be a big deal. People might not get it, but our little dog passed away yesterday. We had to make that awful decision that people don't want to make, but we had to make it for the right reasons. And yeah, 13 years of absolute friendship, love, and yeah, it was a tough old day.
Yeah,
but as some of the lovely people on LinkedIn said, that the sun continues to rise, and we take a deep breath and get on with it, right?
Mm. And let's say hello to Will, who always tunes in, and Kevin as well.
Hey, Will.
And unfortunately, the LinkedIn user, I don't know who, but they've said hello or hello back. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Restream's fault.
Maybe they could tell us who they are.
Yeah, Kevin sends his love.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, brilliant. I hear William Shorten's a very talented poet as well. I don't know if you know that.
Is he really?
Very talented. Very talented indeed.
So who wants to go first?
I have a quiz.
You have a quiz? Oh, fantastic.
I want to cheer you up. I want to cheer myself up. So I've got a bit of a quiz for you, if that's okay. Can we start with a bit of a quiz?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So it's a bit daft, but it proves a point. I'll also test your sporting knowledge here. I've got Mike Thomas.
That's me out then.
It's a question of sport.
It's a question of sport, but it has. If you bear with me and just let me pull this thread a little bit. So I'm going to be some of these are American, some are European. So we've got some our American colleagues here. Gianni Antetokounmpo. That'll be a name known to lots of people who are into basketball. Plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. If you take him and Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks, Chris Paul for the Phoenix Suns, Carmelo Anthony for the Portland Trail Blazers. See all the our American colleagues are like nodding away here. Rafa Nadal, Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, LeBron James, and Cristiano Ronaldo, and add up all of their Twitter followers. Do you know what the total number is?
More than you.
A billion?
A billion. It's got to be more than a billion.
It's got to be more than a billion. Yeah.
Well, it's actually, that's a pretty huge numbers, right? But these, as a series of individuals, when you tot up their individual Twitter followings, the number is 280 million people. 280 million people, right? Absolutely
Staggering.
massive, staggering, right? Staggering. Cristiano Ronaldo alone has 93 million Twitter followers. 93 million today. Actually, if you look at across his platforms, because he's quite social, our old Cristiano, he has 270 million Instagram followers, right? Quite huge. Rafa Nadal, 15.5 million Twitter followers. Tiger Woods, 6.5 million. Serena Williams, 10.7. LeBron James, 49.9 million Twitter followers. My point is, for the more astute amongst you, you may have noticed that all of these sports specialists and sports stars are all linked to Nike. They're all sponsored in some way by Nike. Nike themselves, anybody hazard a guess at how many Twitter followers Nike has? The mighty Nike?
Yeah.
10 million.
7
million, isn't it?
ish.
8.6 million. 8.6 million. So if Nike wanted to sell some tennis gear, they should probably rope in the combined 29 million followers between Rafa and Serena. If they wanted to sell a pair of basketball shoes, they should probably rope in LeBron and get him to chuck some of the weight of his 49.9 million followers. And definitely, if they want to sell some soccer football shoes, they should get Cristiano involved to get some of the weight of his 93 million followers. This is just a bit of fun, right? Collectively, the people have completely trashed the digital dominance of the brand, right? So when we take that and we overlay it to other industries and other verticals, who are your Tiger Woods? Who are your internal Rafa Nadals, Carmelo Anthony's, Chris Paul's, Russell Wilson's, Antetokounmpo's, all these fabulous people? Who is your Cristiano Ronaldo is the point. If you go to, we work with lots of clients and there'll be a lot of, we do a lot of stuff through our company page. Our company page is on Twitter and you can't enter twice. And we do a lot of Twitter and we do a lot through our company page on LinkedIn. Yeah, I did do a blog on that list this week. Thank you so much, Will. That was well spotted. That was cool. So my point is, you have all of these potential rising stars in your organization. And if you go to your company page today, and I urge everyone to do this, flick onto your company page and see how many followers it has. It's likely it maybe has 1,000, 2,000, whatever. Then look at how many people, and you can do that quite easily on LinkedIn. Look at how many of your people are on LinkedIn. So if you've got a couple of hundred people, maybe more, take an average of say 1,000, say 1,000-ish that people have got connections these days. Take an average of 1,000. I guarantee you that your digital social presence of you and your team are going to absolutely obliterate the presence that your brand has. So the point is, the people are winning the battle over the brands. If we enable our people to link arms and become the sports stars like this, then we get all of that benefit and joy, and increases that phrase that we love so much, your digital dominance in the marketplace. End of quiz.
That's brilliant.
Was that really a quiz?
A question that I would pose, though, is what's Cristiano Ronaldo got that I haven't?
Talent.
Thanks.
So actually, Adam, it's
I just
worth
wanted to get in early.
It's worth you coming in and talking, because you've actually just been doing one of our clients has asked us to do a competitive analysis so that what they've said is that we've got, is it 5 or 10 competitors, go onto social and give us your view of what our competitors are like on social. So do you want to give an overview? Obviously you can't name company names, but
so this client is a multidisciplinary US software company that have products that operate in a number of different areas. So what they've done is they've given us a short list of their competitors to each of those different products. And what I've done is I've just gone through and had a top line look at the products or the companies and their footprint on social. Good point, Matt. I do have more guitars. Yeah, so typically that would involve looking at the company on LinkedIn, and then because some of these companies, Tim and I used to work for Oracle, for example. Oracle's got 210,000 employees. So clearly, I'm not going to look at the social profiles of all of those 210,000 people. So what I've done is I've done what you as a buyer might do. Looked at the company page, looked at the things that they've posted, seen how much engagement and the kind of comments people have left on those posts. And then I've looked for customer-facing people who typically will be sales, pre-sales, customer care, customer success, that kind of thing, within the region, in this case, the US, because that's where we're starting the implementation. And I've looked at the top 10 or 20 of those people and I've analyzed their profiles. So is the profile good? Are the people active on the profile? How often have they posted in the last 3 months? What's the average amount of engagement they've got on each of the posts per person? And I think we can safely say that as a kind of unifying kind of analysis across both the companies and the individuals that work within the companies, they're all crap. And I did a video about this a little while before I came on here. And I think that often we look at this and we think that this is a problem. You know, there are no leaders in this field. You know, there's no software company that is absolutely exhibiting how it should be done on social, how people are being empowered, how people are starting conversations, how people are engaging their audiences. But therein lies the opportunity. You know, when you go online to purchase something, particularly in the B2B space, when you go online to purchase something, you will possibly go through a very similar process to what I did, which is you'll look at the company, you'll look at the people on LinkedIn, you'll say, actually, that person's in Australia and that person's in Brazil. They're not of interest to me because I'm based in Germany. So you'll look at the people in your own region and then you'll have a quick flick through their profiles and you'll think, do they look like they're nice people? Do they look like they're interesting? Do they look like they're experts?
Could they help me?
Sorry?
Could they help me?
Yeah, exactly. Does it look like their audience are listening when they speak, or are they simply speaking into a void, into a vacuum where nothing's bouncing back? And the thing that is very obvious is that when you stumble upon somebody that is better than the average, and in fairness, I've probably looked at 300 people's profiles over the last week, and when you see somebody that is better, noticeably better, you cannot help but spend longer on their profile. You cannot help but read more about them. And then you start to delve into the things they've posted and the comments that they've had on those things. And you start to feel a certain affinity with that person in exactly the same way you would feel affinity when you go to a bar and there's an interesting, attractive, friendly, chatty person in the bar. That's the person that you want to be having a conversation with, not the person that's sitting morosely looking into their drink, not wanting to have a conversation with anybody. And I think that it's the opportunity is for everybody that wants to be successful now to simply raise their game a little bit. And the nice thing about that is that because the bar is set so low, everybody can appear to be an expert really quite easily. So that's been my learning of the week.
And just to confirm, the competitors that you were looking at, they're all small companies, aren't they?
Some are.
They have no resources.
Yeah, some are. Some are small companies like. Well, I won't.
Or are they really big companies?
Yeah. Well, some of them you would think would be very wealthy companies, global tech giants employing 50. 100, 150, 200,000 people. One of them employs 300,000 people. And
but
yet,
they're shit on social.
They are shocking. They're shocking as individuals because clearly they haven't been trained, empowered, educated, and encouraged. But they're also really dreadful as organizations as well. They just consistently post brochures. You know, and if you're a company that has 150, 200, 300,000 followers on LinkedIn, and you post something and you get 5 likes on it, that tells you that your audience isn't really listening when you speak, because all of us get immeasurably more likes and comments on anything that we post, and none of us got anything like 200,000 followers. So you know, I think that one of the things that this drives home, though, is that there's very little pragmatism in this space. You know, one of the things that I think we as a group and a lot of the people that we work with are really, really good at is we're good at acting on the results that we see. I post something, nobody engages with it, I don't post something like that again. But these organizations are kind of caught in a tailspin. You know, they're posting the same stuff again and again and again and again and again, and nobody's listening, nobody cares.
Could I possibly just dovetailing beautifully with what Adam was just talking about? Can we go back to Neil's comment, please, where he says
he's an engineer.
He's an engineer. Yeah, I just want to
the one before that. This one.
I was going to bring that up too.
The one with the engineer, please, and then someone else can pick up on. Yeah. So on that, this is just an interesting little piece.
Thank you, Neil, for putting the comment.
Yeah, it's really good. Hands down, the candidate. We've trained a lot of people and coached a lot of people to become expert at social selling. Hands down, the most successful person that I've ever been involved with on a training program is an engineer. He's hands down the most engaged with person I've ever seen, and has landed the most business from his interactions on social. That engineer started doubting that this was going to be of any benefit to them because engineers don't do social. He has absolutely obliterated everyone else in terms of results across the board. Network growth.
One of the things that's really interesting, Eric, is the story of his first post, which has had what, 1 million views.
Yeah, 1.2 million views.
1.2 million views, and he came to you between Christmas and New Year.
Yep.
And you had a conversation, and the conversation went, "Shall I put something out on LinkedIn?" And you went, "Yeah, of course." And he said, "Yeah, but no one's on between Christmas and New Year." And then you had this conversation, and so he put out a photo, and it's had 1.2 million views.
1.2 million views, 13,500 likes, something like 1,200 comments.
Terrible engagement. Terrible
engagement levels. Terrible engagement levels. And that post has led to very, very, very important commercial interaction. Very important commercial interaction from an engineer who doubted that engineers do social, and is absolutely killing it.
Fantastic. Yep. I mean, it's isn't it amazing? But thank you, Adam, for that, because I knew that you wanted to let some steam off about the
yeah, I just had a very similar conversation to a guy that is an engineer, and said thanks for bringing that up, Neil, because he said the exact same thing, and I used Eric's example and showed him that. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
So Adam, just to say on the screen there, Karina says, "I love engineers." Excellent. So that's one. Anyone else?
Yeah. I've got a T-shirt and everything that says "I love engineers" on it. So, yeah.
Well, you need to wear it next time you
yeah, clearly.
So who wants to go next?
Well, I wanted to ask Adam real quick.
Okay.
Adam, was crap a formal category on the KPIs? You said
I didn't articulate it. I didn't articulate it like that. We had poor, fair, good, and one person got excellent in fairness.
Oh.
I think it's an acronym, isn't it? Does it stand for conditioning something?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Appreciate
that. I'm sorry, Mike. Go for it.
No, it's all good. So this is a shout out to Kevin, my buddy Kevin as well. Hey, Kevin. Kevin and I we've gone back and forth on a couple of posts, and I've been interacting a lot with financial advisors, as many people know, like 24/7. And one of the things that is becoming clear is people don't understand how to integrate social media into a analog social life, right? They don't understand how to align everything together. I read a great book. I highly recommend it, and it's called The Comfort Crisis. What's up, Kev? And
The Comfort Crisis.
The Comfort Crisis. It's a challenging book. I highly recommend it. But one of the things that I have always struggled with before Tim beat me over the head with the 2x4 and got me back online was, how can I be human and be on social? How can I not be seduced by the dark side of entertainment and wasting time and things of that nature? And I think the reality is that the problem is not time spent on social media. It's time not spent recovering from any type of work. And what we do here at DLA and what we work with our clients, and Eric and Adam were just sharing it, there's a lot of work involved with it and a lot of cognitive load. And I think what's critically important is that we do things that allow us to recover. So you guys have heard me say this before, but there's a universal formula for performance improvement if you do any kind of athletic coaching. And quite frankly, the coaching that we do is athletic, measurable, repeatable. You can get better at it. And so it is stress plus recovery equals adaptation. And so one of the things that's absolutely true is that doing social media correctly, doing social selling like we talk about, is a stress. It's not good or bad, but it's a stress because you're learning new skills, you're engaging with new people, you're a human being, so you're emotionally engaged, and it takes time and it's physical. And I don't know about you guys, but usually when I'm doing social media, I'm in the exact position we are right now, sitting down, hunched over a little bit, looking at a screen. And what that does is it affects your body and it affects your brain. And if you don't have a recovery strategy for that, you're going to drive a negative adaptation. And this is so important. So I'm going to give you the formula for fixing the adaptation positive. You ready? Get outside and move. Get outside and move. The research shows, the research shows that you need 20 minutes. See you, Nick. I'll do your part. I just got to get some accessories. But the research is unequivocal. 20 minutes outside walking around, and ideally as far away from any type of artificial stimulation possible. Meaning, if you can get away to where there are no sounds from cars or airplanes, the better. So that's the biggest thing I wanted to talk about, because I don't know about you guys, but the feedback I get from people, especially initially, is that you kind of get sucked into this. Even when we're doing it for work, you get sucked into it. It's exciting. We're doing things, we're measuring it, we have success, we get feedback, and we tend to get a little out of alignment. And I think, based upon 25 years of coaching, the most important thing you can do when you're looking to improve performance is make sure that you not only have a strategy for growth, stress, but you have a strategy for recovery, so that you can ensure that over a long period of time, the adaptation, i.e. commercial engagement, you get is beneficial. I just wanted to share that because I know people worry about it.
Can I just check that I've got the right one? Is that The Comfort Crisis, Embrace Discomfort to Reclaim Your Wild, Happy Self?
By Michael Easter?
By Michael Easter, yeah.
Yeah, it's
excellent. So
it's excellent.
I see it's about reconnecting with the wild and nature and all that. I saw an excellent TikTok this morning from a chap that I follow. I'll try and remember his name. He's a big sort of muscular older Scotsman. He struts around in the forest in the wilds of Scotland with a kilt on, and he says these little motivational things. They're quite pithy and supposed to be quite sarcastic. And he's standing on this tree trunk this morning, and he said, he turned around and said, "The closer you are to nature, the further away you are from idiots."
Unless you're the idiot.
Yeah. I thought it was brilliant.
I was in the military, so that's not necessarily a universal statement of truth. But I just wanted to throw it out to you guys. Is like we're doing this, and we're teaching all of our clients, and we're coaching our clients, and we have so much invested in them for long-term success. I just want to encourage all of us to really understand that causes stress, and that there's an opportunity for us to be purposeful and intentional about how we help them recover from it. And it's not going to be the same for everybody else. you know, for some folks, it might be going out on the beach and just enjoying it. It might be riding a mountain bike.
I think you're right, Mike. I always use the analogy that I kind of see social as because I love video games. It is a giant video game, and when you're jacked into it, you're obviously getting those, the dopamine responses going, and it gets to a point where you have to step away and you have to recharge your batteries, and it's important to kind of get back to nature and just and the great thing about it is as well, it's you'll come back chock full of content ideas for the next round as well.
Well, and that's the one thing, Eric, you got to read the book, and I know you'll get this, all right? I don't know about the rest of the people, but you, Eric, you'll get this. We have lost, sorry, Tim, that was really just for Adam, but we've lost the ability to value boredom, right? If you really want to be creative, if you really want to think about different things, you have to be able to be in a position where you're bored, meaning you're not distracted. You're not overstimulated. You're
Mike, I sat on a webinar the other day. I can give you the recording for it if you want boredom, mate.
Adam, I'm in America. All I have to do is turn on C-SPAN, like congressional, and then there you go.
I'm going to give a little shout out to I had a conversation about this very subject with Danielle Guzman recently from Mercer on one of her posts where she was talking about being on holiday. It's the one where she's jumping up out in the waterfall, and she's really excited to be out and reconnecting with the wild. And she said, so, what do you do to I find personally, so the things that the things that I love doing that are activities. I like making art. I have a little art channel on Instagram for anybody who wants to follow it.
Let me just say, because you won't, Eric is a phenomenally talented artist.
He is.
But is he better than his daughter? Is he better than his
daughter?
Oh,
no. So I'm an abstract expressionist.
Different type of art.
Yeah, it's different. It's like
if you went to the Tate and you saw, which is our kind of premier modern art gallery, Eric's work would not be out of place hanging there. It is.
Wow, what a lovely thing to say.
I only just found this out about you, Eric. So this is
wow. So Who'da Thunk Pictures on Instagram if you want to check it out. And don't be too harsh and critical, because it is like a gorilla's playing with its own poo. Most of it, it's like it's not particularly. So it all happens. So here's the thing.
For those listening in, that's supposed to be a metaphor.
It's supposed to be a metaphor. Yeah.
It's not literal. Not literal.
Don't cancel Tim's Restream license on that. So it all happens in the moment on the canvas. There's no structure. It's escapism, right? So that's my point. I like mountain biking. I like skiing. I like throwing myself down dangerous ski runs and stuff like that, because there is something for me about, I have to be very focused on the thing, so much so that it excludes any wanderings. So I came up with this term. I don't know if I did come up with it. Maybe it's something that already existed, like dynamic meditation. So if I'm throwing myself down a mountain on a mountain bike, all I'm thinking about at that point is being in that zone. There's no room for worry about purchase orders or proposals or delivery or projects and anything. I'm just focusing on that. If I'm doing the same with skiing, doing the same with whatever it is. And I think so going for a walk for me in the forest is okay, but I have to be sort of really absorbed in something to allow that full concentration. It's almost like that dynamic meditation. The
technical term for it is flow state, I think.
Not necessarily, but
okay. Oh yeah, no, I'm willing to go for it, Mike. Tell me why.
So well, it's old coach talking, right? So there's that dynamic meditation stuff is huge, Eric. It's huge, right? And what you're talking about is addressed in a book, in that it's doing things that are very difficult or hard and challenging, things that require you to be 100% present. And if it pushes you far enough, what it does is it stimulates all kinds of great things. The boredom, though, is something you have to get. You've got to, I'm just telling you, you have got to be able to get to a place where you can sit still long enough to recover.
Matt raises an important point. That, have you ever noticed that Eric and Banksy are never seen in the same place at the same time? That could mean that Eric is Banksy.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, I think actually he's not Banksy, is he? He's Banksy.
Banksy, yeah, absolutely. And Mike just dropped the mic there, didn't he?
It's a mic drop.
A mic drop, yeah.
Brandon, do you want to try and scoot in quickly before Mike comes back?
Sure. Well, I think it is Mike's talking about recovery, and I'm not going to talk about the boarding side. So two things I was thinking about for me. Long distance running is my escape. It gets me in my flow. So if I get out, a couple miles, it's not a big deal. My brain is still in work mode. But if I can get out and get 5, 6, 7, 10 miles, and I just get in that lost, mindset, and that's my recovery time.
Cool.
But the other thing that Mike made me think of is earlier this week, maybe it was end of last week, I created a post talking about Mike's back.
Hey.
Well, Mike's front. Welcome back, Mike.
Mike's not talking.
He's not.
Come on, Mike. We had a mic drop moment. We thought that was funny.
Do you want to finish up, Mike?
I don't think.
I know you're in a hotel. I know you're in a hotel.
I think I was done.
Wi-Fi.
I'm good.
Okay. Brandon, do you have anything that you want to discuss today?
Yeah, I just, as I was going, stepping off of where Mike left off, is I posted this week about social, like, we don't have to be perfect. You guys may have seen the coffee mug where I said perfect spelling and all that, that you don't have to be perfect. I think that one of the stories I tell is the very first time I wrote a blog in 2011. And I was so excited. I created a blog. I actually did graphics myself, which I'm horrible with graphics. Praise God for Canva.
Yeah.
And I posted it thinking, number one, everybody was going to read it because, I'm so important. And number two, that it was going to, create some conversation. And I got crickets. And then when I finally did get a response, it was from a friend. It was an acquaintance who sent me an email, and he said, "Hey, if you're going to blog, you should do it correctly." And he took my blog article and copied it, put it in a Word document, and then turned on track changes, and went through and corrected everything that he thought was wrong, and gave me a page with all this, so much red on it. And what I ended up doing is going delete, and I was mortified. I mean, it crushed me. And I think along the lines of we've got to recover with social media because it is active, and we are putting a lot of our heart and soul and mind and being authentic and exposing ourselves, exposing our hearts and who we are as people to the general public. We've got to remember that it's okay. We're all human, and we're going to have typos. We're going to have grammar issues. Our images aren't necessarily going to be the best, but we've got just like we've got to recover. We've got to be able to be like a duck and just let the water flow off our back and keep going, or else we're never going to do it. And I think that
Adam and I decided very early on that whenever we wrote blogs, that what we would do is that we would crowd source the typos. So we always put our blogs out there, and what happens is that people write to us and point out the typos. So it's a great way of.
That's a great mindset.
I always thought you did that on purpose.
We do, yeah, we do. It's
to drive engagement.
What you do is you strategically put spelling mistakes through the document, so you know that when someone comes and says, "Oh, you spelled free or free wrong," you know that they've read that far down.
They're little breadcrumbs.
You guys are absolutely perfectly consistent on that strategy.
Absolutely, we do it. We do it. We teach people to put spelling mistakes.
Yeah.
I always wondered, but I didn't have the courage to ask.
Mm.
Well, ironically, a friend of mine runs a Google AdWords agency, and one of their clients is a jeweler, and they sell more jewelry to people that can't spell jewelry than people that can. Because to bid for misspelling of the word jewelry costs a lot less than to bid for the word jewelry. So they do, and loads of people don't know how to spell it. So when they search for it, they come up in the ads. It's just a brilliant strategy.
Genius,
brilliant.
I was going to say, like, the results for you guys speak.
Following up from what Brandon was saying about the whole, you put so much of yourself out there on social. Have any of you guys ever experienced what I call the drought, where you've literally just run out of ideas for content? Has that ever happened to you? It's only ever happened to me once, but
yeah. And what did you do? You wrote a post about feeling you're having a drought.
Yeah. That's the only thing I had. It was. Have you ever seen it was an old Jim Henson TV show called The Storyteller, and one of his episodes he runs out of stories, so his whole day is spent in interpreting and making this new story. So I kind of stole that, really. So I was like, I've run out of ideas, so I'll just talk about the fact that I've run out of ideas.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
But
Wasn't that
any of you
what
guys
the
experienced?
whole Seinfeld show was about? The
Yeah,
entire Seinfeld was that, right?
yeah. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Have you ever completely run out of ideas for content?
Oh, yes.
Well, Tim and I used to do that occasionally at the beginning, and we'd just sit down and brainstorm some ideas. And often, if you get into that place where you're stuck, if you just get in touch with somebody that you know and is on the same page as you, so it's like Eric will know exactly what he can say to you to get you to explain that you'll start to go off and rant about, and that's a fantastic video.
Yeah,
so Tim and I used to go off for like a day and just shoot 100 videos, 50 each. So what do you think about this? Holding the camera up, and then Tim would go, well, I think that's just bloody ridiculous, and blah, 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 blah. And then we go, okay, that's one in the can. And then just do it again and again and again and again. And often I think and your point then about, I think it was your point, Nick, about, you go out for that walk and you get away from everything, and then you come back with loads of content.
And Neil mentioned it as well. Neil made the comment.
Yeah, I think the challenge that so many people have is that they don't spot things that are blog worthy when they happen. So Tim says to so many people when we're coaching them, there's a blog in that. And the reason is because, something happens and you go, I feel really passionate about that, or that seems really stupid, or there seems a real juxtaposition there. And then you don't flag it up and actually turn it into a piece of content. You just go, oh, that was interesting. And it sort of drifts past.
I think
grabbing those things out of the air as they float past is a skill that we all learn.
It's just being cognizant enough and being self-aware enough to notice those things, I think, and not have blinkers on, I think.
Absolutely.
Well, the first piece of content we get people to write about is their summaries, right? And how often have you had somebody look at you in terror and absolute fear because they have no idea what to write in their summary, right? I mean that happens to me a few times a day, and you have to bring them along and look at different things and ask about what they did here and the next thing you know, you're getting a 20-minute story on whatever, and you're just looking at them, and then Tim's famous statement comes out. There's a blog in that, but in your case, there's a summary.
I've got a really just really quickly. Is it okay if I jump in just exactly on Thomas's point? I was talking to
and then we go to Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cool. If it's okay, if we've got time.
We're just
a minute.
Yeah. Thomas will just get 10 minutes, not 15. That's all.
So I was talking about that very section with a friend of mine who's an engineer, and he said, and I just don't understand. I've spent my whole life writing reports and facts and stuff like that, and now you're asking me to write about myself. I don't have a life story. I'm like, you do. He said, I don't. I've led a very boring life. And I said, well, let's start from scratch. And he literally did this. This happened in front of me in a coffee shop in between lockdowns. So he went, I don't have anything to talk about. My life's been completely dull. Okay, walk me through your life. And he went like this, switch. I used to live on the west coast of Ireland. My father was a diver, an old school diver with those brass helmets. And I used to go down every morning to the little shop and I would polish all of his tool belts and all of that. And then I would stand with the guy who did the air diving while my father was in the water. And I used to really worry about him. But I guess that's what gave me my association with the sea, because as soon as I turned 17, I joined the Merchant Navy and I was away to the Far East. And that's where I became a man. And I did all these wonderful things. And then I went to the west coast of Africa and I fell in love with Africa, because Africa really made me the person that I am today. And some of the things, but I don't have a life story.
I've got nothing to say. I've done nothing in my life. I'm just average.
When did the funk happen? When did the funk happen?
John, that's your about section right there. That is deeply about you, and it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Oh, right, great. Yeah, absolutely.
Nick, so what have you been doing this week?
Well, the end of last week, I went to go to the qualifying at Silverstone, which was nice. Got invited along by James Clutterbuck and met up with the lovely Leah Turner. And that would have never have happened at all if I had not been socially active on LinkedIn. So, case in point, I got to enjoy. I got to have some downtime and enjoy myself. And
you're an influencer, aren't you?
Well, I don't know. I guess so. I don't know. We all have a certain amount of influence in our respective spaces. So, but yeah, it was nice to actually physically meet people again in the flesh, and people that I've interacted with and spoken to on LinkedIn. And it's so nice when you, and this happens all the time, when you actually physically meet someone in the flesh whose content you've interacted with for such a long period of time. There's no disparity between the person that's in your feed and the person that you meet with. It's lovely when it happens. So yeah, that was really exciting.
What's the term? Social relationships turn the first meeting from a handshake to a hug. Did someone tell me that one time?
Yeah,
it's Ron Fanzo.
Yeah. It's just really nice to get back into the swing of meeting real people in the flesh again. And it's just nice to. I don't feel like I've had a break from work in weeks. I just feel like I've been on a treadmill for a while. So it was just nice to just step away from that, and just have no time with no wife, no kids, just me watching the qualifying. And it was nice. Have a few beers. It was
how loud are those cars?
They're not as loud as you think they are, but I don't know if that's a combination of me getting older and deafer, or the cars have just been pardon. Or the cars just being quietened down, but they're not as loud as I remember them.
Or the drinking, that could have said something.
You should try NASCAR.
But my hearing's my hearing's shot now, so I wouldn't know hence the cans. And then I've been thinking about developing a LinkedIn etiquette playbook, because it's something that there's a certain amount of etiquette that's required, I think, to use the platform that people aren't aware of. So I'm thinking about doing a video series around that. So I've been trying to get people.
So you're looking for from the audience things that annoy them on LinkedIn.
That annoy the crap out of people on LinkedIn, like the instant spam sales DMs as soon as you've connected with someone. And
that post belongs on Facebook. That's the thing that annoys me most.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This isn't Facebook. Oh dear, the amount of
hey Nick. Nick, I was just talking to a guy that's going to end up being a golden goose for me, and he was talking about the irritating people online, and that just going on and on. I said, so like, do you go to church? He's like, well, yeah. I said, no one at church has ever irritated you. No one at church is rude. No one at church has ever tried to sell you anything. And he went, oh. I said, why do you expect social media? It's social media. Why do you expect it to be any different than the real life? Get over yourself and start, being in charge of your own experience. I said, we've got these interesting tools called unfollow.
Yeah, and block. The good old block button.
Yeah, man. Like it's like I wish people would just get over this fantasy that social media is worse than a real world. Come to America. Just engage in some political discourse, and you will find that it's better. It's better on social media.
We need a block button in real life.
Yeah, Well, we call it concealed carry in the United States. That's the
It's going to get political.
Pods, the thing that annoys me.
Oh
Yeah.
God, that was on fire, bro.
Yes, it's I think there's a certain level though of I don't think it's, I think some of it is there's an educational standpoint. There's people just not being aware that they can curate their feed and they have access to those tools, and that's part of my job.
No, pods are great though, because you get a load of people that are never going to buy anything from each other to all like and share each other's content, because there's a huge amount of, oh no, there isn't any value in that at all.
Great concept. What an amazing concept.
Yeah, it's like that post that we posted on our corporate feed. It was really good. It got liked by 1,000 people. All of them work for us, but it was liked by 1,000 people.
Do you know what I'm starting to see a lot of? I'm really starting to notice a lot of it at the moment. Is there's a massive disparity. I'm going to people. I went on a lady's profile the other day. 77,000 followers. She posts probably every other day. Her engagement levels are way lower than they should be for someone that's got that amount of followers, and I'm starting to see that with alarming regularity on people that have got massive followers and a massively low engagement. It's like, hold on a minute, why is there this disparity between?
You could buy that.
We always drum into people this idea of you have two ears, one mouth. Use them in those proportions. Why would I engage with your content when you never engage with mine?
Yeah,
well, I wouldn't, and that's what's happening to these people. They think that they've become a rock star because they've got 70,000 followers. Yeah, and you know it's a one-way street, isn't it?
Yeah, you still have to cultivate and water that garden.
Of course you do.
Hey Adam, I have a client getting started in September. The sole reason I got the business is because the marketing person they've been paying tens of thousands of dollars to and promoting to all of their clients has never liked or commented on their post. And I did it just as a matter of respect. And I wasn't aware that it was significant until we were on the call about the proposal.
Yeah.
And I was like,
do you know why Mike did it? Out of respect.
Out of respect, like, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand it.
Yeah. So why did you get me here on this call? You're the only person that ever liked Mike.
I just couldn't believe the sheriff of social interacted with my content.
Sheriff of social rode into town.
But
get off your horse and drink your milk.
But it's back to
get off your horse and like my post.
But seriously, it's back to what Adam said in the beginning. Is like most people are a steaming fecal pile of material, right? I mean, they're just horrible. And like, I hate to say it, but right now, if you would just be active, it would be amazing.
Have you had some bad room service or something? Is something wrong with the hotel? Are you seriously? What's going wrong? Coffee.
The coffee's not good.
He's on his coffee.
Michael should not be allowed coffee before coming on the digital download. Decaf.
It's been 2 weeks, man.
So Thomas, it's tradition that you get the last section.
I don't know how that tradition got started. I really don't.
Well, I started it.
That explains it. So I've noticed a running theme through our talk today, which is kind of interesting, and it really speaks to all the challenges. I mean, with Adam's talk, when he was talking about measuring the competitor online and how we see competitors and different companies not being particularly effective, and everybody else talking about how different people are uncomfortable with writing about themselves. There was an article written or put out by McKinsey recently about transformational changes a company and people do. And it talked about one thing in particular that bled through that and has bled through this. So it's a nice analogy, and that's risk. Everybody is afraid to take the risk, right? So if when you talk about what you were saying earlier, Brandon, about being somebody making a negative comment about the blog you wrote and the risk you took, and then suddenly you're fearful of what you're going to do next. Well, that's the same thing that we see with everybody that we train, everybody that we work with, every company that we work with, and every competitor that they have. And that risk, that fear, is the worst thing possible for people to get over. And I think as people in the business of helping people turn their businesses digital and their work digital and become socially active online in that light, that's the biggest thing that everybody needs to get over and to learn how to properly manage. And when you look at the stats that McKinsey points out, and you look at the companies that are doing well, whoever they are, and it doesn't matter the industry, whether it's boring or exciting, or whether it's a sports player or an influencer or somebody a little bit more sedate than that, when they take the risk and they put themselves out there and they do the things that others aren't doing, and they actually go where the ball is going rather than where it is, they actually make progress, right? And for us, that's the biggest single thing for us to get people over is that fear of risk. And I spend a lot of time on that, especially as much as I can at the leadership levels, to really help them understand the reason you're not doing this is not because you don't think it's a good idea, but it's because you're scared to do it.
Amen.
Right? You know, and the reason that the person next to you in the boardroom today is the CIO instead of perhaps the CMO is because you now know that your IT infrastructure and your security level is something you need to prioritize, right? Things change. You need to change with them. You need to take risks. And so your CIO now is more important, right, than some of the other key players. And I shouldn't say more important, but it's more pressing an issue for you today, right? And that same thinking with risk, you should be applying to your business model. So one of the key stats that comes out of McKinsey is that 90% of the businesses they surveyed, this blew me away, think that by the year 2023, their current business models won't be functional.
Ooh. Whoa.
That's
Say that again, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually 91%. 91% of the businesses they surveyed on digital transformation with the CEOs and the business leaders of the group they surveyed said that by the year 2023, their current business models will no longer be functional.
So let me just paraphrase that. 91% of the businesses that were surveyed said that they think that unless they change, they're going to be out of business in 18 months.
Yes. And these are obviously bigger organizations.
That is a true... Yeah, your face. It's like that is a thunk moment.
Yeah.
Every business in the world should be terrified.
That's a code brown for sure.
The question outside of that outrageous statement is why? Why is that the case?
Yes.
Because they're doing the same thing they did last year and the year before that and the year before that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep doing today what I did yesterday because that always works, right? And that's the reasoning.
That's sarcasm.
Hey, Thomas.
And what I heard there was all the opportunity. I mean, that's great. If these dinosaurs don't want to change, they don't want to adapt. And how much opportunity is there for the rest of us that are willing to take the risk, that are willing to go throw it out there? And Mike, I'll give you in a second. It reminded me, I had a conversation this past week with somebody that was kind of cranky about, oh, this whole influencer thing, it's stupid and they shouldn't have this and they shouldn't have that. And they shouldn't be making this kind of money. And I said, well, you know why they do? I said, because they show up. He's like, oh, but their content is stupid. I said, it doesn't matter. They're taking the risk and they're showing up and it's paying off for them. You may not like it, but it's paying off. And I think there's opportunity for lots of companies if they just start showing up.
Well, it's like Adam said earlier when he was doing the analysis of the competitors for the client. The fact that his competitors, in his word, were crap is the best news possible, because it doesn't take as much for your light to shine brighter than that when they don't have the batteries in. So, you know, there's an opportunity there. I totally agree with you, Brandon. So it's
Thomas.
Dominance.
Yeah. So Thomas, so I'm just reflecting back to one of the first conversations you and I had, and the way I would paraphrase what you said and what McKinsey's talking about is people, when they're afraid, aren't able to evaluate risk on a 360-degree basis. And so what they fail to do is understand that the status quo, which we all know is the major reason people don't change. The status quo has got home field advantage. The status quo is actually risk as well. Taking no action, making no change is just as much of a risk as taking action.
In fact, I would argue it's more risk, right? Especially in today's world where disruption is going to happen before you have lunch, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not making, you know, stuff happen, then somebody else is. And so if you're not the leader, then you're the follower, right? And you, there are some techniques around that. You know, they call it being a fast follower, but that's still somebody moving where they think the ball is going. And that's a much better strategy than sitting around waiting for somebody to give you the damn ball.
I got that from an MD recently who worked with us, who said at the wrap up, he said, I don't think I can remember a time in my life where I absolutely knew that I was pioneering something.
What a gift. What a gift you gave
That's
him,
cool.
What,
a guy that,
what a
well,
gift.
that's a guy that's in his 50s who's been at the leading edge of his trade for a long time, and, you know, been involved in some innovation, but it's been run about kind of in things that already exist. But now he knows he brought in something truly revolutionary to his organization, and he's pioneering a change, and he knows that, and I think that's beautiful.
That's life-changing.
Oh,
Well done.
You know, the other thing I picked up is that in every case now, and I should have known this myself because my experience has been the same, engineers are the people we need to seek out, because
Experts.
well, they're pragmatic, right? 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 must equal 4. So if you walk them through the steps, they're right with you, because they're using logic and there's no emotion in that process. Engineers are not emotional, right?
And it's the Edelman trust barometer that says it's the technical people and the engineers that people trust the most.
So what you're saying, Thomas, is when an engineer writes "I'm passionate about something" on their description, we don't trust them, because clearly they're not passionate about it.
It's why you should never outsource your marketing.
Engineers rule.
Engineers.
Isn't that one of these?
So it's
I'm going to counter that with engineers.
yeah, I thought it was an oxymoron.
What does an engineer do with risk?
What does an engineer do with risk?
What does an engineer do with risk?
I don't know, Thomas.
Manage it.
Hey?
It's math. They do
That's
math.
not a joke.
No.
Yeah, they would handle it.
They analyze the heck out of it until they get all the risk out of it.
Yeah, they do math.
Yes. And they move through the process in order to determine that it worked or it didn't work.
This will
And
fall
that's-
over. Yeah, I need to fix that. I need to add this. I need to take that away. Run the numbers. Yeah, check, check, check.
The plane is usually in the air while they're fixing it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with building the plane while you're going down the runway.
This is what I'm saying. This is what
Story
I'm
of
saying.
my life.
Now, it's always better if there's a runway, but that's not needed either.
Fair enough.
Thank you. We seem
Brilliant.
to reach the anyone got any funny things they've seen this week, or any jokes, or
I've had a
I'm
lot
going to
of
go
calls
ride
with
roller
Adam.
coasters.
so Mike's going to go and ride some roller coasters. Sorry, Brandon, I missed that.
Oh, you asked for funny things this week. I've had a lot of calls with Adam.
Thank you, I think.
So
I left it ambiguous on purpose.
thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks
Tim.
to Nick, Adam, Thomas, Brandon, Eric, Mike twice, Kevin, Neil, West, who I think is gone, William, Jan, Matt, Karina, loads of people, and all the comments always make it, all the questions and all the comments always is part of the fun. And we'll be here next week. And I'm shooting off at the end of next week because I've got a night in a hotel.
Nice,
fantastic,
fancy.
Yeah, I've splashed a load of points on a night in a hotel. The big spenders.
Big spenders. Can I have a voucher?
Yeah.
I think we just encountered some different slang between continents.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Nothing. Slang. Moving on.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.